Hey, hey. Welcome back to Black Bar News, where everything is connected. What's going on, people? Or the lack of people. Where is everybody at? Hello. Did I just curse too loud or something yesterday? Is that it's too much filth, floor, and filth? Anyways, good to see you. Got a few people on Substack, so what's going on? As you can see, oh shoot. Sorry, I'm afraid to turn off my Substack. Looks real choppy. But if you guys notice on Substack, and it may be a feature of them, this being a new product that they just rolled out, but I can stream from StreamYard to Substack now. Yay. I guess they heard me complaining that I wanted to stream from StreamYard to Substack, and they complied. So thanks, Substack. I appreciate it. We're live on Odyssey too. We're live on YouTube. What's up, Gregory? Was a leap up? People. Anyways, how is it? It's really choppy on Substack, man. I can see the video quality is like horrible. All right, I'm gonna do it. Cross your fingers that we don't get disconnected, guys. Oh, and it does look like let's see. Can you see the coffee in my mustache? It does. Okay, so Substack is frozen. Can you guys still hear me and see me on Substack? oh geez. Oh, here we go. I'm back. It didn't really help the picture much. Sorry. Maybe it's a little better. I don't know. Anyways, I'm excited about the new live streaming to straight to Substack. And that's cool. Word. I guess we'll start with some news. I don't know. Somebody bought me a coffee. I don't know who it is, but thank you, someone. Whoever bought me a coffee, I appreciate you. We'll just jump into it. Maybe I've been doing too much talking and ranting or something lately. Or maybe it's just a Thursday. I don't know. Israel burns children alive in tent camp strike as genocide continues under the quote-unquote ceasefire. This is from Aaliyah. I got a bunch of articles to kind of go through, news stories / articles, and I don't know that we're going to make it all the way through. Oh, is it? No. Come on, Salt Lakers. Palestinian photojournalist Mahmoud Wadi was killed by an Israeli drone strike in Khan Yunis. Northern Gaza on Tuesday, marking another deadly violation of the U.S. brokered ceasefire agreement. At least 4 other Palestinians, including a child, were killed in separate attacks across the Strip. Wadi, renowned for his aerial photography work, was operating in an area outside Israeli-controlled zones as designated by the ceasefire terms when the drone strike occurred, according to medical sources who spoke with Turkey's Anadolu agency. And they're just testing out this take people out by drone thing before they use it on you. I know that's scary, right? By the way, there's more people in the chat than they are telling me are watching on YouTube. So thanks again, YouTube. But everybody, please like up the video, like it up, share it, etc. Tradition. I never expected to lose Mahmoud, who was not just my son, but a friend as he grew up in a photography studio. His father, Issam, told Anadolu. Mahmoud was photographing in a safe area not under Israeli control, according to the ceasefire agreement, but the Israelis respect no pledges or promises. Their entire life is treachery and deceit. The same strike wounded Mohammed Abdel Fattah Azli, another Palestinian journalist. Wadi's death adds to the catastrophic toll of media workers killed during Israel's ongoing genocide in Gaza. More than 257 journalists have been killed since the genocide began, representing the deadliest period for journalists in modern history. They only, in the US, they cancel you or they shut down your website or they ban you from your platform or whatever. They might demonetize you. They might mess with your view totals. They might do all kinds of things. But in other places, they just drop a bomb on you. So it's much more treacherous to be a journalist in other places. According to Palestinian news agency WAFA, WAFA, Israeli artillery fire killed 2 people, including a child, in Gaza City on Tuesday. Medical sources at Gaza hospitals confirmed at least 5 total fatalities across the Strip since dawn. The violence escalated further on Wednesday when Israeli warplanes struck the Al-Mawasi tent camp near Khan Yunis, killing at least 5 people, including 2 children, and wounding dozens of displaced Palestinians. Medical sources reported that bodies recovered from the site had severe burns. The camp houses Palestinians who have been forcibly displaced by Israel's genocidal campaign. The airstrikes come after the IOF claimed 4 soldiers were wounded during the operations in Israeli-occupied Rafah. The IOF characterized resistance by Palestinian freedom fighters as a ceasefire violation, despite openly conducting military operations in the area and claiming to have killed 40 Palestinian fighters on November 30th alone. The U.S. has pushed for Israel to grant the trapped freedom fighters safe passage to Hamas-controlled areas of Gaza, but Israel refused. I heard another story that they had trapped a bunch of Palestinian fighters in an area and they were not allowing them to leave and they were just hunting them down. Under the guise of, we're so scared. Mounting death toll under the ceasefire. Gaza's health ministry reported Monday that Israeli occupation forces have killed 356 Palestinians and wounded 909 since the ceasefire supposedly took effect. By Wednesday, the ministry updated the toll to 360 Palestinians killed, 922 wounded. If Tuesday's deaths reported by medical sources are confirmed by the health ministry, which tallies bodies delivered to hospitals and morgues, the actual death toll would be even higher. Continued killings underscore the fragility of the ceasefire arrangement and raise urgent questions about accountability for systemic violations of international humanitarian law and ongoing genocidal violence against the Palestinian people in Gaza. Don't you know? All right. So that is happening. By the way, James Lee was, here's a quick video from James Lee about, he was fired from Breaking Points. Hardy har har. At least you don't get drone strike in the US, but you get fired from your job for doing journalism or suspended from your platform. And yeah, that's what happens. So we'll watch this. James Lee was recently kicked off of TikTok, which is basically an Israeli-controlled platform now.
There's a famous saying, all tyrannies rule through fraud and force. But once the fraud is exposed, then they must rely exclusively on force. And because my entire platform is literally dedicated to exposing fraud, it is maybe not a surprise that the powers that be are laying the hammer down on me right now pretty hard, seemingly all at once, and I could definitely use some of your support. So I'll start here. A few weeks ago, the pro-Israel Stop Anti-Semitism advocacy group named me Anti-Semite of the Week. For what? Simply daring to call out Israel's lies on the seat. And this is what they're citing as anti-Semitism. Me saying that, quote, Israel is a parasite to the world and that their survival depends on deception, bribery, manipulation, and coercion, and that the truth threatens its very existence, which is all just factually true. There is a reason why they have a multi-million-dollar annual Hasbro budget for this exact specific purpose. They also evidently did not like that I called out the fact that the state of Israel was literally founded by Zionist terrorists and that they quite literally invented terrorism itself. Also just factually true. Just Google the King David Hotel 1946 and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. They also say that it's somehow wrong to argue that the ADL's, in my opinion, bastardized version or definition of anti-Semitism is not actually about protecting Jewish people, but is instead about protecting Israel from accountability. So I guess trying to protect Jews is bad. Anyway, the Stop Anti-Semitism group was founded by this lady named Leora Rez, and their entire platform is all about getting people fired for criticizing Israel. Honestly, I think I should probably do a deep dive on them, and I think I will. But right now, they are literally telling people to mass report my account in order to deplatform me. And maybe, just maybe by coincidence, maybe not, I don't know for sure, but the second thing that happened to me in this last week was that my TikTok account was unceremoniously banned. For what specifically? I have no idea, because honestly, I haven't even been posting there very much because they were censoring me anyway, and I really couldn't post anything. People should know, if you don't know already, that the new owner of TikTok, billionaire Larry Ellison, is the largest private donor to the IDF, okay? And that the head of their content moderation is this lady named Erica Mendel, who is a former IDF soldier. But China is really the big problem, right? They were stealing our data. So the solution for that is, of course, to turn around and hand it over to Israel. That is totally what America First is all about. Anyway, and then you have the hat trick. Number 3, you guys remember last week when I talked about how Breaking Points decided not to air my interview with Elijah Schaffer, who is being sued currently by Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins? Well, yesterday, their producer sent me an email notifying me that my relationship with them will end, quote unquote, effective immediately. The reason they cited is that
sorry to laugh.
They're, quote unquote, looking ahead to 2026 and
Breaking Points. You think it was gross that he was on Breaking Points? Well, haven't we seen this with other journalists? Right, with like the Rising, and Breaking Points is basically Crystal and Saga, right? And they're are they still funded by the Hill, or did they break off and do their own thing? Anyways, we know that Crystal Ball is a team player for the establishment, by the way, even though she acts like she's on the outside. Yeah, I think they did break off from the Hill. Anyways, back in the day when they had independent journalists doing stories, who a couple famous, well, several. I think Brianna Joy Gray was one of them. My mind is blanking right now. Kim Iverson was one of them, and who else? One more. the lady that was on Useful, Katie Halper. So all three of them were fired from the Hill for doing journalism, for free speeching too hard. What's up, Victor Jan? On the YouTubes. Yeah. So I think what they do is they try to get, like young, hip, up and coming, journalists that have some popularity on a certain platform. They try to get them to do stories for them to bring viewers to the audience. I mean, I feel like that's fairly obvious. And then when they color outside the lines, which they're going to color outside the lines if they're any good, they fire them. So Bulla says, I'm always skeptical of anybody getting a lot of attention, but I take him case by case. I mean, I thought that too. I had the same when he was doing work for Breaking Points. I had the same, like, oh, why is he doing work for the show? But I think he's just a journalist. It's really hard to know. It's really hard to know who is owned and who is, a controlled op. It's very hard. But yeah, generally, people that have a large following really quickly or very popular or are, I'm not saying it's always the case, but I feel like there is a barrier to entry. Like if you start getting popular, I feel like there is a moment when maybe they might go, hey, are you on the team? And you either go, sure, or nah, Yeah, for sure. Extra Bulla. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do. I mean, I really like James Lee's work. I think he does. I don't think he does. I haven't seen him do anything that was like that. I paused and went like, no. I pretty much appreciate his takes. I enjoy his takes. I enjoy his work. I like his viewpoints on things. I think he is trying to tell the truth. I think he's outside of the matrix, and so I appreciate his work. He does, however, have 150,000 subscribers on YouTube, which isn't like a ton, but it's hard to get 150,000 subscribers these days doing like outside journalism on YouTube. It's hard. 150 is like a lot if you're doing like journalism, especially if you're doing stuff that he's doing. Anyways,
making some changes in content and felt that my submissions did not align with their new direction. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but my gut feeling is that they probably felt that I was free speeching just a little too hard for their liking. And that is that. And quite honestly, I have absolutely no ill feelings from my side at all. I know many of you are Breaking Point supporters, right? That's probably where you first found my content to begin with. So definitely keep on supporting them if you so choose. That being said, it is clear that I am under attack right now from various forces for doing journalism.
I don't know if it's various. I think you're under attack from one force. It's not varied in a raid. It's pretty centralized. I think we know who it is. Sure. Well, and I feel like that's the case with so many journalists that you have to kind of keep one eye open for when they start doing fishy stuff, right? Denver says he used to be a management consultant for Pfizer. He told on Pfizer, and that didn't get him fired, but criticizing Israel did. That's interesting. Okay. That okay. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad person because he worked for Pfizer, but it's like, why would you? I'm always curious about that, and I'm sure people like walk into things. People have awakenings. They're young. They are out of college. They're like, I'm going to get a job. Oh, I'm going to get a good job. I'm going to get a job that pays. I'm going to get a job with benefits and blah blah blah. I remember one time, like, I don't know where I was. I was touring somewhere, and I was crashing at somebody's house, and it was a bunch of college students, and they're nice. But one of the students was like just graduating. I was having a conversation with her. She's like, I work, got a degree in like chemistry. I'm gonna go work for Monsanto, and I was just like, in my mind, I was like, why the F would you ever do that? Like, they're evil. Like, you're just gonna go, ha, ha, ha. Oh man, Monsanto wants to hire me. Sure. Like, you think, I'm sure you're doing it just because it's a good job and they're giving you money and it's going to pay your bills. But you're working for the evil empire. That's like, oh, Darth Vader, called me and wanted me to come hang out at the Death Star and thinking about giving me a job, and I'm thinking about taking it. Oh, no problems. I was like, what? You're just gonna. It's like how to tell somebody that you have no soul right out the gate. I was like, you're just. And I was just like, you're something special that you're just going to happily go work for Monsanto. And I hope they're okay. I hope, I'm sure they went to work for Monsanto, and a couple of years later, they were like, oh my God, I'm working for the evil empire. I was like, you didn't already know that? Duh. What he was? What he? Say what? I'm trying to understand your comment. James, he told stuff he wasn't supposed to say when he was brought on to Jimmy Dore's show. Oh, okay. He said as soon as it was apparent, Pfizer and others would have tons of leftover vax. The call for multiple boosters campaign launched as if correlated. Oh, yeah, I see. Okay, I get it. Hey man, hey Denver, I sent you a. I'm sorry, I sent you a message on Twitter. So I sent you a message, and then like Twitter changed its stupid welcome to X chat, thing. And we're like, they wanted me to create a passcode for the chat, and I was just like, why can't I just see my messages, man? And I just resisted even doing that for like weeks. I was just like, no, I'm not going to do it. So I finally, got into the chat, and I saw that you sent me a message. So I'm sorry, but I responded to your message. I'm sorry about that. It just took me. I was just like, F this. I'm not doing it. Oh, I'm not doing it. Welcome to XChat. Oh, yay. Like, who cares? It's like, who cares? I don't. Oh, it's a new thing where you have to supply a passcode to get your messages. Really? Okay. Wow, how special. It is a distinct problem, I think, of I understand bugs and fixes for bugs and stuff, but a lot of times there are upgrades when no upgrades are necessary. You just do stuff. They're just doing stuff just to do. Oh, we upgraded our interface. I'm always like, no, no, you didn't. It's worse. It's going to be worse now. Of course, it's just going to be weirder and worse. They just break stuff and sell it to you as if it's better, and it's like, nah, you just didn't need to do that. You just could have just left it the way it was. Totally fine. But X is just becoming strange. What else have we got? New Yorkers blocked ICE from leaving their parking garage for hours, foiling a mass raid attempt. This is great. I try to show these videos whenever I can. Yes. 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 I think you get the picture. But good for them. Once again, there's more people in the chat than they are telling me are watching the video on YouTube. Just have to point that out. The slappiness of it. Anyways. Thanks for being in the chat, guys, for, at least showing the weirdness of it. I don't even know that Substack is really showing my video to anybody. I've been gaining followers like crazy on Substack. Thanks, George. And other people, but have a ton of followers, but every time I start a video, it's like I'm like, are you guys even showing my video to all my followers? Are you even letting my followers know that I'm on? It doesn't seem like they are. Because you'd think you'd get one or two, just a couple. Nope. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe, people are inundated, so I'm not going to trip too hard. The hardest thing with doing anything these days on any social media platform is just that, the overwhelm of it makes it very likely that you won't get seen because people are just like, civilization is a crime against heaven. Repent, says JMW. All right, man. We'll throw that up on the screen. Aliyah says, we're boycotting these companies for enabling funding Gaza genocide, colluding with ICE, or rolling back DEI. If you can't avoid all of them, just avoid as many as you can. Target, Starbucks, McDonald's, Walmart, Goodwill. I saw Goodwill and I was like, oh man, I love the Goodwill. I was just there the other day. Stranger Things. Dang. Netflix, which goes along with Stranger Things, Coca-Cola, Amazon, Disney, Burger King. Shift your spending, choose alternatives, support local and small businesses, etc. These billion-dollar corporations need to feel the consequences of their choices. And I am all for that. I don't even have a Netflix account. I canceled it a long time ago, and Netflix equals Soma. I canceled it, and I'm having up, I'm just not moved to get it. I would. My daughter loves Stranger Things, so I would get it to watch it with her, but there hasn't really been a need. So Good Will Hunting. Exactly. I like this one. This is a good. Why does this look so dark? I'm tripping. This is a good meme from PragerU. End climate change seems to always translate to end capitalism. An earthly education says they're slowly getting there. Yes. Burger King is owned by Delek, which is Israel's petrol services company. Nice. Always love when the oil companies own your food, products. Your food establishment. You're getting fine dining when it's owned by an oil company. Let's read this by Lee Camp. This should be. I read it. I started it a little bit. I didn't read the whole thing. Why can't we commit war crimes and destroy the planet while still having an affordable lifestyle? And ew. Yes, definitely skip that, Salt Lakers. Sometimes it doesn't seem like two things are connected, but deep down they are. You try to grasp the correlation, but it's elusive. I think I found the answer. Why can't we, the United States, regularly blow up fishermen off the coast of Venezuela without a judge, jury, or relevant jurisdiction, without 49% of American children languishing in or near poverty? Why can't we send tens of billions of dollars to help Israel commit genocide while also having affordable housing for Americans? Rather than the monthly mortgage payment on a typical home doubling since January 2020. Why can't we manufacture the murder of hundreds of thousands in a proxy war in Ukraine while still being able to afford going out to eat twice a week at a not nice but not fast food restaurant like Olive Garden or TGI Fridays or Cheesecake Factory? Instead, a recent analysis finds that an American household earning less than $136,000 a year is essentially under the poverty line. And that is fact. That is absolutely true. $136,000 a year just a few years ago was a shit ton of money. And now it's like, making it. You will not support local next year, Fred Gunter. Okay. Why can't we turn Syria into a failed state led by a former Al Qaeda chief without also spending over $13,000 per child per year on childcare? That Syria thing is a great one, right? It's like, oh yeah, we got to get rid of this dictator and install democracy. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, we installed a former Al Qaeda strongman. Playbook. Anybody? Playbook? Oh, I'm sure it's all the fast food is like fake meat or mostly fake meat. You don't really have to. I feel like at McDonald's the burgers are so are mostly soy. Like you don't even have to order a veggie burger, just order a regular burger, which I would not do. I don't actually recommend doing that at all. Why can't we spend over $1 trillion a year on our Department of War and Death without 27% of American adults reporting they've gone without medical care this year because they can't afford it? We all at some point wonder if we should get a professional to fix that broken leg or see if our neighborhood auto mechanic can pull it off. Why can't we commit the largest act of industrial terrorism in history without 14% of Americans going to bed hungry at some point during the year? Why can't we, along with our BFF Israel, ethnically cleanse and steal 58% of Gaza without tens of millions of Americans suffering under $220 billion of medical debt? Why can't we coup countries like Pakistan, Bolivia, Argentina, Haiti, Brazil, and so many more in recent years while not having 30% of Americans reporting they can't even afford a $400 emergency? Why can't we kill 4.5 to 6 million people with the global war on terror without the American job market rotting in the gutter? A new report shows you have a better chance of getting into Harvard than you have of finding a good job. A 0.4% chance of getting the average job versus an acceptance rate of 3.6% at Harvard. It's pretty good odds. Why can't our military emit more greenhouse gases and thereby contribute more to climate change than 140 countries without Americans writhing beneath $1.8 trillion in student loan debt? Why can't we have our cake and destroy the world too? Well, here's the answer, or at least a part of it. The reason the U.S. has a bloodthirsty, tirelessly belligerent global empire that is able and willing to do far more harm to the world than any other country is because we have the most unfettered socioeconomic system. The system uniquely rewards the behavior of sociopaths, those with little to no empathy. If you care at all about your fellow humans, you never become a billionaire or a member of the U.S. elite ruling class. It's a self-selecting cycle. Those who give a fuck about others are weeded out, with most of them never even wanting to rule over their fellow humans. All told, this means the capitalist system puts the sociopaths at the top. They are the richest and most powerful. With the sociopaths running things, all decisions are filtered through a sociopathic lens rather than a humanity first lens or something similar. The ruling elite who decide to commit war crimes, genocide, mass murder, unfathomable destruction are also the ones who decide how to set up American society, how best to extract both money and life force from average citizens. They are the ones crafting our dumpster fire healthcare system and our corporate friendly taxation system and our fuck over the poor food systems and our debt peonage loving education system. They're also the ones blocking alternative ideas that would help create a sustainable, peaceful, just world. It's the same parasitic, soulless people running all the systems. And that's at least one of the main reasons we cannot commit loads of war crimes and generally destroy the planet while still having an affordable, easy life. Not that we should be comfortable while we relentlessly masticate, digest, and defecate our future. All right, good stuff from Lee Camp. He got a point there. What? Turning mind waste into clean water? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Support local mean to agree with the use of the optional sales tax. Not me. Only on deliveries. What? Okay. Crystal and Waffle House were your go-tos after going to the oh man. Oh, Crystal is the worst. I know they're all bad. I don't know. I actually don't mind Waffle House, even though I know it's really bottom of the barrel food, but I could do Waffle House once in a while. Once in a while. Um Nobody's chatting over on Odyssey today. Very few are chatting at Substack, but you can. I can see the chat. Are you guys enjoying the StreamYard version of Substack rather than the side view version, or do you like the side view version? I can tell you that the StreamYard version is a lot less work for me. Crystal burgers could soak up some alcohol, sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. Make mining toxicity clean water will be used as a green light to mine everywhere. Always. Well, the whole like electric cars, solar panels, and carbon. What are they called? What's the word for them? Carbon sequestration technologies are all excuses to continue industrial civilization at scale, basically. That's why the elites hijacked the climate change message, because they wanted to turn climate change into a reason for you to buy an upgraded stove or an efficient washing machine or, a brand new whatever. How about some light bulbs? Right? They want to sell you and listen, some of these technologies are amazing. Can't deny it. Some of the technological advances are quite amazing. I'm dumbfounded, gobsmacked, agog. I'm always, something. I'm like, wow, oh, they can do that. Okay, that's cool. But most of these things are to enable the continuing onslaught of the destruction of nature. Anyways, you eat a crystal for $2? Not no more. Yeah, back in the last recession, yeah, you can go to like Del Taco or Taco Bell and get, many burritos for under $5. I was a big fan of that. I'm more of a burrito person myself. If you want to support the show, you know what to do. Oh, pass the hat. See, there's a hat. Oh, hey, while you guys are all here, do a little pass the hat. So if you want to chip in a buck or two or whatever you want to do, there's a bunch of links in the description box of whatever channel you're watching on. I don't know if the description box shows up on Substack. I kind of don't think so. Zalipa says it looks great over on Substack. Yeah, cool. It looks a lot better since I turned off the VPN, but the video quality at the beginning was shib par. Tomorrow is Bandcamp Friday. I don't know if you guys know what Bandcamp is or what Bandcamp Friday is, or maybe all you do. But Bandcamp Friday is when all of the earnings, they don't take a cut from the sales. So I'll remind you guys again tomorrow. But I think I'm going to release a new song. I think tomorrow. I'm going to try. See if I can make it all spiffy enough and whatnot today. I think I'm going to release a song tomorrow on Bandcamp for Bandcamp Friday, and I'll remind you guys again tomorrow. But I'll drop the link where I'm releasing the music today, just in case you guys want to stay tuned. Also, on top of all that, I think with the release of the song tomorrow, like just a few days later, or hot on the heels of releasing a song tomorrow, I'm going to release a whole record. Not a whole record. I'm going to release, I'm releasing a record in 2 parts. So there's going to be a part 1 and a part 2. This is my big thought cloud right now. Yeah. So I'm going to release a 2-part full album, and the full album is going to have 15, 16, 17 songs. I don't know. But I'm going to put out the first 8 imminently. So probably in the next couple days, or maybe by next week, I will be releasing a new record, et cetera, et cetera. You guys are going to hear all about it. I'll let you know all about it. I'll, let you know when it happens. I'll give you links for it, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. I also made some t-shirts, some new t-shirts, some first t-shirts that I made since I lost all my t-shirt stuff about a year ago. So the t-shirts are the album, right? The album is called Matador. The first one I'm going to put out is called Matador 1. I'll put out Matador 2, but Matador 1 is going to come out shortly. So here's a link for the t-shirts if you guys want to check them out. I didn't really give you guys a heads up before, but you guys can go peruse and whatnot. Say Desert Mantis says my turntable is warming up. Yes. You just ate a breakfast burrito for $9. Yeah. You know what I did? I ate a breakfast burrito. I've had 2 days this week of breakfast burritos, which I love immensely. I made them myself. I made the tortillas myself. I made the beans myself. I cooked up everything myself. They were probably the least filled with garbage burritos you could eat. They were, very, very pure, as much as tortillas can be pure. But anyways, Desert Mantis is a legend, says Extra Bola. So that's one way to get around the $9 breakfast burritos is make your own. You don't have to make your own tortillas or your own beans. You could just throw them together. But I think if you bought all the stuff to make them, you probably spend more than $9, but you could probably get a couple of. It's one way to do, or you could just go buy a breakfast burrito if that's what you want to do. Sometimes you just gotta go buy a breakfast burrito. Sometimes I do that, but I mostly like to make my own food. Let me tell you though, if you make your own tortillas and your own beans, I'm telling you, the taste quotient is high. All right. That's enough of that. All right. Got a couple more minutes. I meant to read this the other day. I'm not reading the whole thing, but because it's long as heck. I just read the title, and you guys are going to understand this immediately. I don't even need to read it. Do I even need to keep talking? I don't know. Why we never hear about countries where socialism works. You already know where this is going. Right. Yes, Fred. Exactly. When most people hear the word socialism, the first images that flash across their minds are grim ones. Long bread lines in the Soviet Union, economic collapse in Venezuela, or repression in Cuba. Oh, each one of those, we could speak for possibly hours on each one of those examples. But these are the things that people, they're communists. They want to bring communism where everything is gray. Yeah. Those aren't the examples. And you can actually separate each of these examples out and talk about how they're very different from each other. Anyways, in popular Western discourse, socialism has been painted as synonymous with failure, inefficiency, and authoritarianism, only because we propagandize people to think that way. And they believe it. Yay! We're Americans. We'll believe anything. The narrative is so ingrained that even those who've never studied political theory or don't even know what socialism means or look closely at history reflexively think socialism equals poverty. Here's the paradox. Many countries around the world have quietly, effectively integrated socialist principles into their political and economic systems, and they are thriving. Do I need to give the example of the United States of America, which at one time in history adopted a whole bunch of socialist things, which created the biggest boom in wealth, the boomers, which created the boomer generation. All the socialist things that we put in place created, well, also World War II, but created a boom in wealth for people and freedom. And then people got a lot of wealth, freedom, education, free time, and they started questioning what the hell was the government doing with all, in all these wars, and what about these other things? And the people in charge were like, we can't have this. We can't have this. We can't have free, wealthy, happy, fed people asking questions. And they have just been chopping that back ever since. So it's a very simple rundown of history of the our recent last 100 years or whatever. Socialism is great if it's done the right way, if it's actually socialism. Here's the paradox. Many countries with Baba, these nations often rank among the happiest, healthiest, and most educated societies on earth. So why don't we hear about them? Why do their successes stay in the shadows while the failures dominate headlines? Let me think. The short answer, power, perception, and politics. The long answer is the essay you're about to read. I'm not reading the whole essay, y'all. I'm just going to skip through to some basic parts. It's important to define what socialism means in practice because the word itself has become linguistic battlefield. For some, socialism means full state control over production and distribution. No. No. For the people that don't understand. For some, socialism is, for others, it's a mixed economy where public services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure are guaranteed, while markets handle the rest. Well, and I don't necessarily think like full state control, I think would be probably not beneficial. In reality, modern socialism often looks less like Soviet central planning and more like a robust safety net combined with democratic governance. It's universal healthcare in Sweden, tuition-free universities in Finland, and public housing in Vienna. Did I read this the other day? I think I read a little bit of it. It's not the abolition of markets, but the idea that essential services should be protected from market failure. And this is why having the government run your healthcare is a better thing than being thrown to the wolves of health insurance and or healthcare for profit. Full state control would bring healthcare bankruptcies to zero. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to get like too far off in the weeds, but it's like it's way too easy to take every one of these points and break it down. Why do we constantly hear about Venezuela and never about Norway? Why is Cuba only framed through scarcity but not through its world-renowned healthcare system? The answer lies in how global media. Oh, I didn't read this part. The distinction matters because much of the West's fear-mongering about socialism rests on outdated caricatures. So the reason why we never hear about the success of socialism is because of how global media operates. Western media, heavily influenced by corporate interest, tends to highlight socialist experiments when they fail, not when they succeed. A failed socialist country validates capitalism. A thriving socialist country undermines it. And let me tell you right now, when I hear independent journalists out there towing the line with corporate media and telling you how, telling you how communism is bad and socialism, oh my God, and the radical left cultural Marxism and the blah blah blah. Like, you guys are literally just freaking Rush Limbaugh or any corporate media stooge. You guys are not independent journalists, yo. And I hope you're getting paid, because if you're doing that for free, whoa, fun times. Take one, Venezuela. For years, Western outlets have saturated the airwaves with images of food shortages, hyperinflation, and authoritarian politics. Yet when Vietnam, a socially oriented country, socialist oriented, lifted nearly 45 million people out of poverty in 2 decades through land reforms, education expansion, and healthcare access, is barely registered in the headlines. That this is not accidental. Media reflects power, and power belongs to those with vested interests in capitalism's survival. Anyways, I don't know. I feel like we're just going to... It's already the end of the hour, so I think maybe I'll either pick this up tomorrow or maybe not. But I think we all get where this is going. I feel like most people understand what's up with this. Libertarians are afraid of global Marxist elites. But are they really Marxist? Are you... We all need to be poor, and that is how billionaires will slow climate change. Okay. I haven't heard that one, but sure. Yeah. They're just going to give you examples of places where socialism works, and it does. And I think everybody understands that when a leader is interested in uplifting his people, Muammar Gaddafi, example, who was interested in exiting the U.S. dominated currency market, and was interested in creating like a unified African country, and was, sure, he had his downsides, but he was interested in uplifting the people and doing things that were way outside of the U.S. imperialist structure. And they were like, you can't do that, sir. And they do that, time and time again. The examples are myriad. We take out the leader that's actually voted in by the people, that's actually trying to help people out, that's trying to get outside of the grasp of the global corporate ensnarement. And we're like, no, that's not going to fly, sir. we're gonna have to take you. First of all, we're gonna demonize you. Then we're gonna terrorize you. Then we're gonna euthanize you, and then we're gonna replace you with somebody we like. Most likely an Al Qaeda head shopper. Mamdani will prove he's not communist by letting BlackRock buy all the foreclosed apartments. We'll see. It doesn't look good. And it sucks because they're just people. We need more education, ground level education about what is who we should be supporting and who we shouldn't be. But There's not, when people are saying, who should we support? There's not a lot of examples to point to. You're like, I don't know. Not sure. Kashama. All right, guys. Well, that about ends my session here. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, to do it all over again. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the day, my friends. And till tomorrow, beware the bear.